welcome back to Across the Park podcast, our second podcast of the week. Myself, Ian Mills, and Andrew Price are the Evertonians, Terry McGivern and Gary Murray are the Reds. The reason for two shows this week is we have heard you loud and clear. You can't put a YouTube show on your run. You can't do a commute to a YouTube show. So we've split our usual 90-minute podcast into two shows per week. The podcast on Monday was discussing the Everton-Watford game, Liverpool-Man United game, looking ahead to the games of the weekend. Some social media questions as well. This show is going to be a bit more light-hearted. We've got a This Week in History, and we also have our man Pricey turning into Roy Walker to give us a game, Reds versus Blues. So anyone who wants to join in with that in the comments, please do. Let us know if you have any ideas for this show. It's going to be out on a Thursday or a Friday going forward. Bit more light-hearted. Pricey, do you want to start off with a game of higher or lower?
Higher or lower, yeah. Got me questions here. So I'll stick to the topical of Man United versus Liverpool for the Liverpool fans. So we're doing news first, is it?
Yeah, so just to briefly explain to any new listeners, we do higher or lower each week. It's Reds versus Blues. Whoever the quizmaster is, whether it be a red or a blue, that side lose that person. So it's 1 versus 2. This week, for instance, myself versus Gary and Terry. And we've got a few questions, and whoever wins gets bragging rights.
Yeah, so your question, Pricey, we'll go to Millsy first, because he gets to answer the Liverpool one first.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So if we go Millsy first then. So against Man United, Salah's hat-trick meant that he's now scored 7 goals in total against Manchester United. Has John Barnes scored more or less than Mo Salah against Man United?
Oh, it's horrible, that. Anyone who have not really watched, I mean, I started going the game in 93. I think Barnes was maybe at Liverpool for another 3 years, but it wasn't his best 3 years. So maybe Barnes' late 80s to probably that 92, 93, yeah. So I can't remember, the point I'm making is I can't remember him scoring that many goals against United, but because you've asked the question, it's got to be close. John Barnes scored less amount of goals past Man United than Mo Salah currently has, is my final answer. So lower.
Okay.
What do you reckon, guys?
I think 7 goals against United is a lot, isn't it?
It is.
You think about the period that he'll have been playing as well, they'll have just been coming into their own. They'll have just been coming into that side that was really, really good.
In the 90s, in the 80s, even though Liverpool had the boss side, I mean, going to Old Trafford, for instance, was never, a given result. Even when we were absolutely, by a mile the best team in the league for years. So I'm inclined to think that it's less, even though Barnes was at Liverpool a long time.
Like Millsy said, it's going to be close. Obviously, that's why he's in the question. But it's probably going to be 6. But I think I'd go lower.
Yeah,
both say lower. Okay, Gary Murray's at the nail on the head. It's 6 for John Barnes. And that's why I just picked a random player because he's the closest one to Salah.
it's a good one though, isn't it? Because
yeah. He's there longer and he was a goal scorer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Get you thinking, doesn't it? Right, I'll ask the Everton one to Gary and Terry now, will I? See if they can get it. So Tom Davies started for Everton on Saturday, and that was his 134th appearance for Everton since he made his debut. Ian Mills' favourite centre-half, Michael Keane. Has he played more or less games for Everton than Tom Davies? And Tom Davies has played 134.
How long's Keane been there?
I think.
Yeah, he signed when Koeman came, didn't he?
3 years, 3 seasons.
4 maybe, 3 or 4, yeah.
It'll be close.
Yeah, he's had a few little niggly injuries that's kept him out, hasn't he?
Yeah,
3 seasons, talk 38 games. He doesn't play every game.
He did for the period. How many is it placed? 134?
134.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to go a bit less.
I can't believe either of them have got 134 appearances, so they're both garbage.
But... you and me both.
Go on, we'll go lower.
Michael Keane lower. Mills, I know you gutter when Keane's not on the team sheet, aren't you? When I sit next to you and you go, Keane's not playing. Has he played more or less than Tom Davies?
Get Mina off and get Keane on is a constant what I say to you, isn't it? I'm trying to do the math in my head. So Keane came in 17. Davies broke through a little bit before then, maybe half a season before then, and I think Michael Keane has been more of a constant in the team. I think Michael Keane has a higher number of Everton appearances than Tom Davies.
Dave's got a lot of subs though, hasn't he? Comes on a lot, Davies, last 10 minutes and that.
No, he's trying to help me out. I've committed. I've committed.
No, I'm not. So your Mills are saying higher and the Reds are saying lower. So Tom Davies is at 134. Michael Keane is at 136. So higher. Millsy wins that one. So what's that? Still 1-1, is it? Or still
2-1
to Mills?
2-1. Don't fucking be short there. I'm winning.
2-1 to Millsy. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we didn't read about this one in the paper. Maybe you did, maybe you never. Solskjaer, it was his 164th.
Sorry, who still gets
online, obviously. It was his 164th game at the weekend when Liverpool took on United at Old Trafford, and he's had 91 wins. Did Jurgen Klopp have more or less wins after 164 games than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for Liverpool?
Well, considering he was playing fucking Stephen Colker up front and he finished 8th in his first season, less.
Yeah, I feel like they probably wouldn't have made that into an article if it was more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that first season he took over after 10 games, didn't he?
Yeah.
After Rodgers, and we weren't in great shape.
It's just the amount of games, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but as Mills, he said, like, there was, we weren't. It took a while for us to steady the ship and start to build up a bit of head of steam. It'll be close. So you're saying less, Mills?
I'm saying less. I seen a great tweet the other day that Jurgen Klopp finished 8th in his first season, and I remember playing Colker up front and stuff. I think he didn't win as many initially, and I think Solskjaer won more. I think Solskjaer had the bounce more than Klopp did.
If you remember as well, Solskjaer had a great start. He had Rio Ferdinand saying, "Oh, he's at the wheel, give him whatever he wants," and all that.
And they've had a knack at grinding out wins as well under him, haven't they? Yeah. I think it's Solskjaer.
I'd agree with Mills. It's not, yeah. Klopp had less.
Yeah, so Solskjaer has 91 wins, Klopp had 88. So it's 3. No, you said the same, didn't you? You both said lower, didn't you?
Yeah, but how many other questions is there?
One more question.
Oh, okay. Go on, sorry, yeah.
So you can be a draw, can't it? So it's 3-2. Yeah. So Mills, this is for the Reds. Josh King scored a hat-trick against Everton at the weekend. That made his total career goals to 59. Is that more or less than Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Career goals.
59.
Josh King's at 59.
Tough, that.
Is this the Reds are first on this one?
Yeah, Reds are first on this one, yeah.
Calvert-Lewin, 59. I'm not having he's had 59 goals.
Got a pitch invader here.
I'm not having that.
So say hello to Terry's son, just crashing the podcast.
Sorry, boys. Right.
Is he meant to be off nursery sick, Terry?
I'm going to ask Charlie. Has Calvert-Lewin got more or less?
No.
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 Right.
That to me says lower.
What do you reckon, guys?
Lower.
I think it's going to be lower. I can't see he's got 59 goals. He didn't really play that much when he first started breaking in.
Lower.
Only recently that he started scoring, isn't it? Really, I'm saying lower.
Lower, Mills.
I'm just going to be horrible and go with lower with them to win the game.
You can't lose. So Josh King's 59, Calvert-Lewin's 54.
Wow,
career goals. Calvert-Lewin's 5 years younger than Josh King as well, so he's Josh King's shite. So
how many did Josh King score for Everton?
He didn't start, Gary. He didn't start. He didn't score.
He scored none. Yeah, scored none.
So Millsy's the winner there, is he? 4-2? 4-2 to Millsy. Evertonians win that one.
Yeah, so any Evertonians play their cars.
This is the only wins you get this season so far. Higher or lower across the park.
That's why I tell Mills the answer before we go live on air, so we get at least one win.
my WhatsApps have been lighting up there in the background. I had to hide the glow. Price is telling me the answer. Okay, so that's nice one. That's our regular feature that we're going to bring to you each week. It's going to be higher or lower. It's going to be a who am I, and we'd love you to get involved in the comments as well. If you have any more ideas for what you want the lads to play against each other, red versus blue, please let us know, and we'll try and bring it to you on a Thursday and a Friday. Like we said, this is a light-hearted show. A part of it is we go way back when in the time machine to a week in history. Now, sometimes me and Pricey, or myself and Judgy, or Judgy and Pricey will do a blue one, and then the Reds, Terry and Gary, along with Phil, will do a separate red one. I think this one is going to be a joint one, and we don't usually cover, the Blues don't cover Derby losses, but it was such it was just an angry day for me, Pricey. Let's go back to the time machine. Press that button with 20th of October 2007. It was Everton 1, Liverpool 2. Now, anyone who's not watched that may just say, okay, what was the issue? The issue was we got royally screwed by a man who may as well be wearing a red shirt that day. The referee, Mr. Mark Clattenburg. Now, Terry, me and you, over on the website, acrosstheparkpodcast.co.uk, audio podcast is still there with guests. One of them was Mark Halsey, and he came out and said during that podcast, Mark Clattenburg felt terrible after that game. He's been on the Greatest Game with Jamie Carragher. He reiterated that he made lots of mistakes that day. Mistakes such as Dirk Kuyt turning into Shawn Michaels and trying to just drop kick Phil Neville with 2 feet. A mistake that, Steven Gerrard told him to send Tony Abbott off when he had a yellow card in his hand. And then at the very end, Jamie Carragher, another guest of the show, and we brought it up on the show with him as well. He just abused Julian Lescott in the box. And Liverpool got away with a 2-1 win in daylight robbery. I'm sure the Reds are going to bring their memories into it. First of all, Pricey, can you remember that day, how you felt then, how you still feel now? Because it still winds me up, as you can tell.
Never forgiven Clattenburg for that. He was an horrible ref anyway, wasn't he? He always was. And then that day, you just knew it, just like, he is actually as horrible as I think he is. The kite one was the worst of the lot for me. The as you say, the 2-footer on Phil Neville over on the touchline, wasn't it? It was like, how was that not a sending off? I didn't even need to see the replay. It was like, that's a sending off. Everyone can see it.
And he scored the winning penalty. He was on the pitch to score the winning penalty.
He scored both penalties.
That was at 1-1. So he scored the winning penalty.
Which was always going to happen, wasn't he? He was always going to have a say on the final result. Kite, once he stayed on, it was like, you knew. We're Evertonians, we know anyway. But you knew, and then. So that was there was all those decisions you mentioned. That was the one that done me head in the most, and then obviously the penalty when you're thinking, how is that not a penalty either? But yeah, he's horrible. You know what you say? He was on the Carragher Greatest Game podcast. I've listened to a lot of them, probably most of them. Seeing Clattenburg's one, I weren't even listening to it. I don't even want to know what he's got to say about anything. It's like, don't even want to listen to it.
He was always one of the referees that made it about him, wasn't he? Like every game was about, he wanted to, and didn't he drive around in a Porsche and all that? And he was like, he basically wanted to be a player, didn't he?
Yeah. Is he the one with the Champions League tattoo? Is that not him? Someone's got a champion. He's done a Champions League final. He's got a Champions League tattoo. Horrible.
I think he's got Liverpool 2-1 on his back as well.
Fucking yeah, he's got a Liverpool tattoo. You referred there to the Greatest Game. Now the Liverpool Echo just done an article on that. Here's some comments from Clattenburg on that game. I was out of my depth. I don't know why I was refereeing it. I'd just done the Manchester Derby and the London Derby. It was my third derby in 3 or 4 weeks. I underestimated it. It's a working class derby. The other two were totally different derbies, but this one was brutal. Everton Liverpool is way more intense at Goodison than it is at Anfield. I remember the first half I did okay. In the second half, I had an absolute nightmare. I listened to my assistant referee for the Dirk Kuyt challenge, which when you look back was a stone wall red. And then he's basically said, all decisions when you look back, although I didn't mean it, they went against Everton.
The fact that he's blaming his assistant referee as well, that just sums him up as well, doesn't it?
Doesn't want to front it.
I don't know what the beef is. I thought he had a great game.
Yeah, I did as well. Yeah, was. No, it is one of them where, we all laugh on me, we say proper Everton and all that, but it is one of them where, from a Liverpool perspective, you're like,
How have we got away with one there?
Because Ipia scored an own goal, didn't he? Like that.
That was
the
first goal. He scored an own goal at 1-0. It was half time. It was 1-0 to Everton. Yeah. And I don't think he's played that well, to be honest. I don't think he's. Yeah.
I don't remember you playing us off the park. I remember it being a spicy one, where it was a proper war of attrition sort of game. But we were 1-0 down, and then obviously everything did go our way, and it was like,
when you look at them decisions, though, to be fair, all right, the kite one, absolute stonewall red, and you probably should have had a penalty last minute as well off Carragher. But
probably
he would have been wrong to only book Hibbert. That was a stonewall red card.
But he had the yellow card in his hand, and Gerrard says to him like it's a red, and he puts it back in.
Yeah, that was wrong that he changed his mind based on Gerrard saying it, but it was a red card.
Well, exactly, yeah.
No, that's fair. It was. I think
the
problem is, it's like what we said. It's where Gerrard tells him. So Gerrard, the Liverpool captain at Goodison Park, is telling the referee what to do, and he does it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I get it. Like,
use it be. Use it be.
It's good. I mean, it's good captain play that, isn't it? To recognise your status and basically go over and say, "Are you having a laugh? You're only booking him," and he's going, "Actually, I'm not Stephen. I'm going to send him off."
Yeah, and it shows how weak the ref is as well. Yeah.
Thankfully,
I remember that full time. I sat in the Gladys Street back then, and I just remember it being right in front of me was the last challenge on Lescott, because Liverpool scored the penalty and loads just left because it was like injury time, and then I stayed. And seeing that in front of me, and then not getting it was a corner or a free kick or something got whipped in, and he's never cleared it, and he just got ragged down. And I just remember he blew straight. So basically, he didn't give the penalty, and he blew, and Carragher and fair play. I'd love it if it was me, but Carragher turned round to the street end, and he just done that, and he ran to your away end, and I remember seeing where it's like you're talking, and it's just spit flying out. Like, how's what going on? And you're thinking, and then we had Carragher on the podcast last year. He was a great lad, and he was we talked about it, and he's talked about it since. But as you can tell, I still get wound up by that game. It was one of those games where you went through so many emotions of watching yous just fucking be yous and get away with everything.
Oh, middle of my cheeks are killing you. Will you stop?
It was horrible. I've seen it on different occasions, but that one was one after the other. It was just watching Liverpool Football Club just get away with everything.
Well, it is what it is.
Long may that continue.
Yeah,
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it absolutely will. All right, Reds, well, you won that derby, so you can close out on your memories on that day then. Is that one that you thought you look back on quite fondly, or is it just... It sounds mad, but just another derby victory for you?
It's just another derby victory with a funny sort of
twist
that was on for us, weren't it? And there's just been a load of them, hasn't there, over history? So it's just one of them that gets tucked away with a proper Everton derby.
Okay, so we're going to be back next week. I promise next week we are not going to be talking about that derby ever again. That is in the rearview mirror now on Across the Park podcast. Next week we're going to be talking about another week, and who knows what it'll be. If anybody has any ideas for us or any important games they've been to and they want us to talk about it, please let us know on @Across the Park podcast piece or @Across the Park PC on Twitter and Instagram, or the Tinternet is at acrosstheparkpodcast.co.uk. If you're old enough to have Facebook,
that game's got you all flustered, hasn't it, Mills?
And if you're old enough to have Facebook, Phil has set us one up as well, so we're also on Facebook. I'm still fuming. I'm going to fucking tweet Clattenburg in a minute after. Clattenburg's getting it. No, thanks for joining us.
See if you want to come
do you know what? Here's a background. We actually asked Mark Halsey if Clattenburg would maybe come on and talk about it, and he doesn't think he would. But he's since been on the Greatest Game with Jamie Carragher, so you never know. Maybe you and Pricey can do that one now.
Yeah, I
think that'll be best.
It would be best, absolutely.
If you're watching, Mark, we're all big fans. If you just get in touch and we'll interview you then.
Yeah. You've just got to pay us a fee to interview you. There's no fee involved the other way.
Yeah.
No, like I said, thanks for everybody for joining us this week. There's been 2 shows this week. The first one was on Monday, where we looked back at the games and looked ahead to the games this weekend as well. This one is going to be going forward every Thursday or Friday. We're going to be looking back at this week in history. We're going to be looking at some games between 2 sides, very, very light-hearted. Regardless of the result at the previous weekends, we're going to be having a fun show like this. It's also going to be out audio as well. So thank you to our sponsors, as always, Veer Clothing. Get on over to veerclothing.com, type in ATP20 at checkout to get 20% off. And a massive thank you as well to our long-time sponsors, Camper Kings, camperkings.co.uk, an amazing, amazing fleet of camper vans. And if you quote Across the Park podcast at checkout, free bottle of bubbly, free insurance, please go and check those out. Until next Tuesday, because Everton play Monday, we are going to let you enjoy the football, and we shall see you then. From myself, Millsy and Pricey, Gary and Terry, enjoy the weekend. See you then.